All right, welcome back. You're still watching Morning Live. Now let's head to the Walter Sisulu Freedom Square in Soweto. This is the official venue of the Africa Day celebrations. Remember, May is the month of Africa Day, the mother continent. Out there is Nonzuzo Dlamini covering the procedures for us. She spoke to Lindiwe Zulu a little earlier, the Minister in Small Business. Nonzuzo, a very good morning to you.
Well, a very good morning to our SABC2 viewers as we continue with our broadcast at the Walter Sisulu Freedom Square in Kliptown. Well, now to tell us more about how this idea of the Gcwala Ngamasiko festival began, we're now joined by Benjamin Mfaba, who is the projects director at the African Cultural Music and Dance Association. A very warm welcome to you, Benjamin.
Good morning, Nonzuzo, and good morning to the listeners across the country and up and beyond.
Take us back to where it all began for this festival.
Well, the festival is 12 years old this year. It started in 2004. Basically, the idea was informed by the new dawn of democracy in 1994 to say there were opportunities for the country to unite, for the country to be able to come together and forge a common identity and a culture. Arts and heritage is one element that you can use to foster that unity. So we took that opportunity and say, because we already had programs that were running prior to 1994, and we felt that perhaps with this one, it gives us an opportunity to stretch it even further in terms of our ethnic background, in terms of our multi-ethnic groups. That's when we started with the idea to say, even then it was called Gcwala Ngamasiko, and it changed in 2007 to become Gcwala Ngamasiko.
Talk now about the program itself. What did you focus on this year?
This year, the focus, as the theme says, that building a better Africa and building a better world. But before we can even begin to externalize it, it has to be an internal process. We have to build ourselves. As African people, particularly here in South Africa, a lot of us are hurting emotionally, psychologically. So we need a healing, and artists are most suited to be able to put that disposition where they can be able to communicate messages of healing, messages of unity, messages of working together without any prejudice. So it's very, very important that we rally around the idea of social cohesion, being able to exist together as different ethnic groups. In South Africa, for example, we have Abavenda, Abapedi, Abatsonga, the Indians, and so forth. It's very, very important for the common identity of this country that we work together. But beyond that, for a long time, South Africa has been in isolation to the rest of the continent. So to a certain extent, we think we are an island. So it's very important that we integrate with our brothers, but in the creative industry, we see there's an opportunity to be able to do that. Hence then the theme, building a better Africa and building a better world.
When you make a comparison between South Africa and other African countries, are we really proud of who we are as Africans?
Oh yes, absolutely. You can see in the manner how we dress, we can see in the manner how we interact and exchange our cultural history and knowledge. But more importantly, I think what is lacking is to appreciate the diversity, because there's nothing wrong with diversity, being Umutswana, being Umtsonga, and so forth. But then at the end of the day, forge a common identity. What is it that unites us as a country, as artists? In fact, as South Africans, we still have to find what unites us as common in terms of our common identity. It's very, very important. And beyond that, be able to take it to the continent. For example, language is very, very important. I might be speaking Zulu and the other person speaking Pedi. The exchange thereof, it mustn't create a tension. It mustn't create the hatred that we see in this world today. But it must be able to say, I appreciate you in your diversity.
What can people expect here later in the day?
Today, Nzuzo, is that we had a 4-day program which started on Thursday. But for today, it's a finale program. We're going to have keynote messages from the Ministry of Department of Arts and Culture. And we're also going to have performances from various artists, particularly those that come from the countries that we've invited. Your Senegal, your Algeria, your Swaziland, and so forth. And there are about 6 provincial departments that are participating in this. The Gauteng, Limpopo, Free State. So we're going to get performances of that nature. But more importantly, we've got a section or a segment called Collaborative Dance Workshop. It's very, very important. It's unique in that we are creating a new dance piece with a new message where we put a Senegalese team or an international guest or a country or troupe together with our South Africans. So create something that is new. Then through that, we are communicating the message of saying, indeed, it's possible that we can unite if we can unite through art.
That was Benjamin Mfaba, I beg your pardon, from Akumda, taking us back to where it all began for the Gcwala Ngamasiko Festival, which is really about loving yourself, loving your Africanness, ubuwena bakho ne Africa yako. Well, stay tuned for Morning Live.